Hey, Nick Leahy from X Restaurant here in Atlanta. Today cooking some beautiful Icelandic salmon here at the Big Green Egg Culinary Center. Again, salmon is a perfect fish for doing on the egg because it has a really nice high fat content. It's a nice thicker cut of fish, so you can have on the egg for long enough where it'll actually pick up some of that smoke flavor and everything. Our salmon today is skin off. So one of the things we're going to want to do is find a new way to introduce a little bit of texture into the dish. And we're going to do that via spice rub. So when we put a spice rub on the fish, it'll let us cook on each side. We'll develop a little bit of crust, which will give us a little bit of a textural contrast as we're going through this kind of rich, fatty fish. So today we're using the new classic steakhouse spice rub from Big Green Egg. You want to put it on there, and then you press it in so that it holds its self on the fish while it's on the egg. If you just sprinkle it on, you can lose most of it during transfer and cooking and all that kind of stuff. Okay. And then whenever we're cooking a richer or fattier fish like salmon, you want to find ways to either add acid or texture or heat so you can sort of cut through some of that richness so you end up with a balanced dish. And since we're a Provençal French restaurant in X, what we're going to do is a quick little sort of Mediterranean salad and some hummus. So we have a little bit of hummus here. If you want to make your own, it's very easy to make. Chickpeas, lemon, garlic, olive oil, a little bit of tahini. If you're trying to make a quicker dinner for yourself, obviously there's other options at the grocery store too. But then we're just going to make a quick little saute on the egg so that these vegetables also pick up some of the smoke and the grill flavor. A little bit of Kalamata olive, some marinated artichoke, some peppadews is what we're using today. You could substitute roasted peppers in there for the sweetness, but I like sort of the balance of a little sweet and a little spice that they bring. Some roasted garlic, and then, you know, wouldn't be a Provençal French restaurant with a little bit of rosé wine. So after the vegetables have cooked on the grill for a second, we're going to deglaze them with rosé and cook it down. Like I said, this is a very simple dish, so we're ready to go to the grill. All right, so we've got our egg right about 450, and we went ahead and got our cast iron pan so it's nice and hot on the egg. We had our salmon rubbed. Since there is salt in the rub, there's a chance that some of the salt might have drawn some liquid out of the salmon, so you want to go through and just press it dry with a paper towel so you get any excess liquid up. You don't want to have liquid on the cover the surface of your salmon, because that can cause that flesh to stick as it hits the grill. And then again, before we put our fish on, we're just going to oil our grill a little bit. You want to do this ahead of time and then give it sort of 30 seconds to cook its way down. That way if you get any flare up from the oil, it's not going to give your fish that sort of grease fire flavor to it that can happen when it flares up. So we patted it dry. We're just going to lay it right down on our grill. And then now we laid the side that we patted dry down, and now we're just going to pat dry our top side. Okay. Now into our cast iron, the first thing we're going to add is our roasted garlic cloves, and the reason is these are packed in a little bit of oil, so we're going to use that oil as our cooking fat in the cast iron. And the second thing we're going to add in is our peppers. I add the peppers next before we add either the olives or the artichokes, because those are both packed in brine, which is water-based, and I want the peppers to get a little bit of a char and sear so they pick up a little bit more of that smoky characteristic. So that's why they're going to go in next before we start adding any of the liquids. And you can already smell that rub from that salmon start to pick up there. Okay, now we're going to close, let it go for about 3 or 4 minutes, then come back, flip our salmon, and add our other vegetables. All right, so our peppers have had a chance to sear in the back there, so we're going to go ahead and add the rest of our vegetables in our cast iron. So we've got our marinated artichokes. And you don't want to get too much of the liquid from the artichokes in there, because we're going to add the wine that we want to be sort of the main liquid flavoring component, and then the olives. Give it a quick stir so everything has a little bit of pan contact. And now that we've got all of our veggies in the pan, we're gonna add a little bit of our rosé. You know, the rule for cooking with wine is don't use something that's really expensive, but you don't want to be cooking with something that you wouldn't want to drink, because that flavor is going to make it into your dish. So we're just using a very simple Provençal rosé. We're going to give it a nice little glaze, just to sort of barely cover the bottom of the pan. That way it'll reduce down, some of the natural sugars will sweeten, and you'll get a balance between the sort of the brininess from the olive, the sweetness from the wine, and everything together. And the best part about doing it is you're only using about 1/4 cans. That means you have about 3/4 of a can left for while you're cooking. While that's all finishing up, we can start plating. So we have just our little bit of hummus. We're going to use that as a centerpiece just to sort of hold the fish, give you that little bit of richness to play with the salmon. And while I'm talking about this, if you guys are doing fish on your egg, I would very much suggest investing in a fish spatula. It's a great tool for any kind of fish cookery, but especially on a grill. It's just a much more versatile fish tool than any of your other grill spatulas or anything are going to be. And I think they're about $7, so well worth your investment. So. All right. Fish is down. We're just going to give our vegetables one more second to finish glazing down. Okay, so we've got some nice color on our vegetables. The wine is cooked down and really glazed them, so we're ready to go to the plate. So we're just going to come right over the top of the salmon. Nice and generous. There we go. And again, we have the sort of rich salmon. You have a little bit of fat from the hummus, so getting the brine and the acid and the little bit of spice from these vegetables, as well as that little bit of flavor you're getting from the egg, is really going to come together and make all the flavors really work together. So there we have it, hummus with spice crusted salmon and rosé glazed vegetables.